Ugh, gosh, they're filthy. Hey, Julie. Right on schedule. Late as usual. I swear I'm not a late person. Just on my lives. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Sorry, I'm going to move my tripod. I don't know. I don't know where I want it tonight. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Thank you for the likes, Julie. I'll put my lotion on. The only time I sit still most of the time. Long enough to do it. Alabama Redneck. If you're just hopping on. It's showing all these people are joining, but my numbers aren't changing. That's weird. Thank you for the likes, all the little hearts. It's crazy because usually it doesn't show me that many times. It's just nuts how it changes it. Because now it's like Julie, 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 Julie. So weird. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. Let's see if anybody's going to get on with us tonight. Maybe. I'd have that song in my head again. What is it? Just Call Me Maybe? Is that what it said? Is that the song? I have it in my book because that was one of my things. Hey, how are you? You're the Queen of Hearts? Queen of Hearts. What is that song? That song just came to me as soon as you said that. Never. Oh, how does that go? Gosh darn it. Now I'm going to have that song in my head all night. Tell me your name again. Lynn, is it Lynn? Or do you have a different name? I forget. Because you've been here before, right? Sorry, my grandson's in here. So if you hear little voices, that's him. Tawny. Okay. Yeah, you got to go see Mom. Sarah, I'm live. He's like, hey, Grandma. Oh, thank you for the roses. I don't hate anyone. So, you can hop off and keep scrolling if I do. I don't hate anyone. So, are we going to have the trolls tonight? Coming out of the woodwork, are we? Did you tell me where you were from, Tawny? Sorry. He loves Grandma's room. He just wants to be in Grandma's room. He loves the end of my bed because it's about this wide on my footboard, and so he plays with his little cars up there. He just thinks Grandma's room is awesome. Okay, if you could refrain from foul language, that would be amazing. Rapid City. Okay. Are you the Tawny that I know? Oh, met at Ruckerville. I didn't even realize that was you. I'm sorry. I can't see your little picture. How are you? We miss you. Okay. Awesome. Well, glad to have you. Annie B, thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you found me. Are you still thinking maybe you want a reading? It's not scary at all, Tawny. It's not. You think about it. You miss me? Aw. Awesome. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Miss your sister too. You know, you guys did good work. It's nice to work with people that know what they're doing. Just saying. Oh. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee and I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. So tonight, guys, we're going to talk about how can we touch others. So that's going to be our topic. I'm just going to wait for a few more people to hop on and then I'll get started. Josh from Oregon, welcome. Thank you for the badge. What part of Oregon, Josh? My husband and I loved Oregon. So we kind of traveled throughout, so I kind of know it. How can we touch others' lives? I know when I put it in my description, I was like, how do we touch others' lives? Because I knew that was going to come up. What part of Oregon are you from, Josh? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Good. We all had a good laugh for tonight. Clickbait? What part's clickbait? Let's see. Dwayne. All of it? Oh, okay. I'm sorry that you feel that way. Dwayne, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm already running late, so how can we touch others' lives? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. But first, if you're new here, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. I started my TikTok in March of 2024. And the reason I started my TikTok is because in September of 2023, for TikTok purposes, my husband unalived himself. West Virginia, welcome. Thank you for the badge, Dwayne. I appreciate that. And so after my husband checked out, I discovered that I had abilities to talk to my spirit guides, and they slowly breadcrumb me to my purpose. What's the note on the bed? Are you talking about this one? This right here? It's one of my affirmations. It says, I love being a motivational speaker because that's my goal. That's one of my goals. So, yeah. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. I have affirmations all over my bedroom door, all over my closet door, all over my mirror, my bathroom. They're all over the place. Some of them read like, the one of them is, the only validation I need is mine. Let's see. I'm worthy exactly as I am. So I have lots and lots of them. You're from Buffalo. Buffalo, Wyoming? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from, or Buffalo, New York. New York. Okay, I kind of wondered after I said that. Okay, well, welcome. Glad to have you here. And so like I was saying, so after my husband decided to check out on me after 32 years, my spirit guides slowly breadcrumb me to my purpose, which was to help others through loss and trauma and uplift others. So that's why I'm here. My page is your page. I only have 2 rules here. The first one is I just ask that you always be kind. The second rule is we talk absolutely no politics here. It's just not at all what my page is about. It's not against one side or the other. It's just there's a million other pages out there for that, and my page isn't one of them. Normally we talk about healing and loss, and if you're lonely and you know if you've lost somebody and you don't know what to do, that's what my page is about. And like I said, we uplift others. So those are my 2 rules. I always like to say I am on my journey of life where I am, and you're on your journey of life where you are, and none of us are ever going to agree on everything. So there might be things said here on my page that you disagree with, and that's okay. We agree to disagree here, and if you can't do that, I just ask that you hop off and keep scrolling. And that's pretty much it for my rules. I don't have a lot of rules. I lost my grandparents in the last 2 years. Well, I'm really sorry. Hey, is it Haley? How are you dealing with that? And here's my other thing. I always say the topic goes where the topic's supposed to go. So if we don't get to the topic for the night, that's okay. If somebody has a loss and they need to talk about it, that's what we talk about here. Are you dealing with it? Are you not dealing with it? How are you dealing with it? All I say is if you comment, I'm going to ask you questions. Obviously, you never have to answer. I always like to say we're not shy here, so you're never interrupting me. My page is your page. My community is your community. I just ask that you be respectful. And usually, this is how my page works, right? I talk, you talk, I talk, you talk. That's kind of what makes my page go around. So, if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Did we lose you? Are you still there, Haley? Okay, I'm going to just keep talking and you can pipe in anytime. So, we never know the impact we have on others. And I always like to point out, so when my husband decided to check out on me, what he didn't realize is that, and a lot of times when people do that, they don't realize how they change somebody else's story, right? That's just not something that registers, right? And I don't think a lot of things are registering with them when they do that. But it's the point that my entire story has now been rewritten because of what he chose to do. How do I want to say this? He hung. I'm just going to say that because I have to be careful what I say. They'll kick me off. Dad bod, 1967. That was the year my husband was born. Thank you for the badges. I appreciate that so much. This was your response? Okay. Did I miss something? Sorry. Sometimes I don't get all the comments either. So if I'm not answering, that's why. Sometimes they'll filter out like every third comment on me, and I have all my filters off. There's nothing I can do about TikTok doing that, but thank you for the likes, Julie. I appreciate that. You can just keep commenting and but like I said, people don't realize sometimes what their choices do changes the story of someone else, right? So the things that doesn't just sorry, I can't read my writing, guys. Things we do doesn't just write our story, but influences the other's story also, right? So as we go about our day, how can we influence others in a positive way, is what my guide says. Does anybody have any ideas? Throw them at me. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of keep reading what my guide give me. First of all, I always like to say, always be kind, right? That's my big thing. It never hurts to be kind. Number 2, I am huge with the golden rule, right? Treat people as you want to be treated. And I always told my kids, when my kids were growing up, I always told them, until you walk a day in their shoes, never judge somebody, right? People have never walked in my shoes, and I know I've been judged, right? They don't know everything that I've been through, or the things in life, the storms that I've been through or had to walk through. Encourage growth. Yep. Exactly. And so that was huge for me with my kids, one example, when we first moved to South Dakota, there was this girl in my daughter's class, and I think my daughter was like 5th or 6th grade when we moved to South Dakota, and she would come home and she's like, Mom, this girl is just beyond, right? She would just, always picking on her and all this stuff, and I said to her, you don't know what is going on in her life. You're not walking in her shoes. What I found in my life, I am 50 years old, is that generally how people behave is because of something that is either trauma that's happened to them, something that's going on in their life, right? So examples of the golden rule. What does that look like, right? Showing other people grace that we would want shown to us. Maybe we're having a bad day and we let our temper flare, right? And so sometimes that may happen with other people. Showing them grace, maybe they've had some, what I like to call speed bumps in their morning, right? You're on the way to work and you encounter them somewhere and they're kind of frustrated or angry, and you don't know what happened in their morning. Maybe they had some speed bumps, what I always call them, in their morning, right? show them some grace anyway, because that could go so much further in their day, where, you know, maybe they get back to their car and go, wow, you know, I was kind of a dickhead and that person was really kind to me anyway, right? Which then I in turn believe then they will pay forward later, right? And I could be wrong, but that I think that's a good philosophy to live by. So always show people grace. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Is it Lisha 5050? Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Did I miss anything? Sorry, guys. Being honest, right? I'm a Scorpio. I don't know if you guys know what that means, but I am a very loyal person, but I believe in honesty, and, you know, if you're honest with me, then you got to ride or die for life, right? I just respect honesty and somebody being trustworthy, right? So honesty for me goes a long way. So being honest, being respectful, and being respectful can mean lots of different things, right? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Anybody else can talk to me tonight, or are they not letting comments come through? Anybody seeing comments? Then I'm not. I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. Tani, thanks for the hearts. I appreciate that. It does help me out a lot, guys. Okay, so being respectful. How can we be respectful to somebody? Maybe respectful of their time, right? Respectful of their boundaries. I'm just trying to think. Usually I have more examples, and I was trying to get this done at the last minute. So, help somebody if they're in need, right? Sometimes it's easy to go, well, I know they need help, but I really don't want to, right? Maybe it's a single mom, and, you know, she just needs a couple hours break from her kids, right? How can we help that single mom? Maybe go take the kids for a couple hours, or maybe you know that she needs something. Maybe the kids need diapers, or she needs groceries, you know, take her a bag of groceries. You know, maybe, you know, she doesn't have a car, offer to give her a ride to the grocery store. You know, there's a million ways that we can offer somebody if they're in need, right? You know, think outside the box. That's what I like. You know, when my husband was in the hospital for 88 days, I don't want to say killed, but I would have loved for somebody to say, Renee, can I make you a meal? Or even just, can I take you out for a coffee? I had nobody to do that for me, right? I went to a church 14 and a half years, and my husband and I were both very involved in that church, sadly. And not once did somebody reach out to me and say, hey, is there anything I can do for you? Can I take you for a coffee? Can I make you a meal? Can I, whatever it may be, right? Nothing, right? So if you know that there's somebody going through something, you know, maybe you know an elderly that's shut in, and hey, can I get you some groceries? Or do you need a ride somewhere? Or can I just come in and, you know, you need somebody to talk to for a couple hours. You know, they get lonely, right? Can I help you do your laundry? Whatever it may be, you know, there's needs out there. You just have to, you know, be awake and pay attention to what is happening around you, right? Sometimes we get so wrapped up in our own lives that we forget that others are going through things too. And sometimes it's visible and sometimes it's not visible, right? Okay, forgiveness, right? That's a huge one. How can we forgive somebody? Like I said, maybe that person in the morning, you know, is cranky when you went in to get your coffee at the convenience store, right? Forgive them. Excuse me. You know, just show them kindness, grace, compassion, and just forgive them, right? Because if it was you, you would want somebody to forgive you, right? And I'm sure there's many other ways that forgiveness can come into play there. Sharing resources. Like I said, for me last year, I didn't have a car, right? And if it wasn't for my bosses saying, hey, you know, we got this car, you can take it home today, bring it back to work tomorrow, right? Aw, thank you, Tani. I appreciate that so much. Oh, I appreciate that. Aw, touched my heart. Thank you. I try, you know. I'm not perfect by any means, right? And I just try to always, like I say, treat people how I want to be treated. So I do try. So sharing resources. How can we share our resources, right? You know, you have a car and somebody needs a ride, or maybe somebody needs a ride to your work. They don't have a car, and maybe you could carpool, right? Finding ways to share our resources with others. Be patient. That's a huge one. Patience is not Renee's virtue, right? My guides and the divine have been trying to teach me patience since 2022, when Daryl went in the hospital, and they're like, patience, Renee. And Renee's like, I don't have any patience. And, you know, and so just learning to have patience and patience with people, right? I know I struggle with this sometimes. You know, I'm on my way to work, and maybe the person in front of me is not going as fast as I think they should go, you know, and I'm frustrated. And then you got to think, well, you know, you don't know what's going on in their life, right? There again, you're not walking in their shoes. Maybe, you know, maybe they're having a bad day, right? And something's happening. Maybe they're having a medical emergency that you don't know about, right? And so just have patience with people. And I know that is so very hard. And sometimes I have to remind myself, right? You know, just patience, because you don't know what's going on with other people. Is your phone waterproof? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Probably not. Thank you for the badge, though. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Okay, let me flip the page. Anybody else got anything to input to any of that? I would sure love to hear your comments, or if anybody's got anything they want to add. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going here. Show encouragement, right? I know if it wasn't for my bosses, you know, like I said, I've lost my husband. They knew my situation, you know, just always encourage me that it's going to get better, right? Maybe you know somebody that's just having a hard time, and, you know, just saying, you know what, you've got this. It's going to be okay, right? Just maybe giving them a hug, whatever it may be, right? Just showing people encouragement and showing that you care. You know, when did we become a society where people didn't care about other people anymore, right? I don't care who you are. I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care about any of that. You know, if you need me, you need a hug, I'm going to give you a hug. I'm going to be there for you, right? All of that stuff is just, people just need to take a step back. And I don't want to bring politics into this, but we all just need to take a step back, take a deep breath, and go, we're all just people trying to get through the day, right? And we're all doing the same thing, just trying to live life. And forget about all that noise from the television and, well, this person and that. It doesn't matter. It's all irrelevant. It all comes down to, are we loving people as ourselves? Are we loving others? Are we helping others? That's what it needs to come down to. All this other stuff it's just dividing us. And we don't need to be dividing. Like I said, we're all just humans trying to get through the day, trying to get through our life, trying to get through our month, whatever, our year, whatever it is, right? Just love people, right? That was one of the biggest lessons that I learned even before my husband passed that summer. It was, you know, just love people right where they're at. And that's why I always say, you know, when I start my lives, I always say, I am on my journey of life where I am, and you are on your journey of life where you are. Because I may be where I am, and maybe you haven't learned what I have learned. That's where I show you grace. And I go, you know what? I'm going to love you right where you're at, right? And it's okay to just love people right where they're at. Maybe they don't agree with you. Maybe they don't look like you. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. All that matters is that we're loving other people, right? Okay, sorry. That's just a big one for me, because think what our world would be if people just loved people. Anyway, enough of that. Don't be rude, right? I I know some people, I'm a very sarcastic person, and sometimes I let my sarcasm come out, and I try never to be rude. So yeah, just don't be rude. Let's see. Respect others' times, which we kind of talked about that a little bit, right? That's one of my pet peeves, right? When somebody tells me they're going to meet me at a certain time and they're an hour late, I get it. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I get that. But that is my pet peeve, and I have a hard time having patience with that, is when somebody tells me, okay, I'm going to meet you at wherever at 1 o'clock, and they don't show up until 2:30. That irks me, right? Will I forgive them? Yes. And maybe they have a good reason that time. Okay, we'll show them some grace the first time, right? But when people do it all the time, it's just disrespectful, right? It is rude. It is rude, to tell somebody you're going to meet them at a certain time and then not be there. And I know I'm always late here, but that's why I always say 7:30-ish. Because I'm not late anywhere else, just my lives. And half the time you can blame it on my guides because I don't get the topic until down to the wire. Be trustworthy if they tell you something, right? If they tell you something in confidence, be trustworthy, right? And loyal. I find loyalty is a hard thing to find anymore. Like I told you, if you're good to me, I'm going to be good to you, and I'll be your ride to die or ride. However you say that, I can't say it suddenly, but I will be loyal to you till the day you die, as long as you're loyal to me. That's just the kind of person that I am. And loyalty is very hard to find. And we've already talked about the show love, right? Just love them right where they're at. And then does anybody else have how else could we show, or how else can we touch others' lives? Anybody got anything that I missed? Anybody? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Anybody? You guys are a quiet bunch. Nobody wants to talk to me tonight. Nobody wants to talk to me. Okay, well, I'm just gonna, that's pretty much all that my guides give me tonight. Does anybody they've been dealing with a loss or anything? Bicycle from Indiana. Do you have a name, Bicycle? Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. Well, I'm waiting to see if anybody wants to talk to me. If you're not familiar, boy, that was crazy. I do have a YouTube channel also, if you're not familiar with that. Jeff, welcome from Indiana. And that is under Scorpio Medium. So if you didn't guess, I'm also a medium. So if you would like to have a reading with somebody who has crossed over, you can go down in my little bio down there, and it will give you my email address, and you can email me to set that up if you would like one of those. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Am I single? You're here to mingle? I guess I could say I'm single. I'm not sure I'm ready for that. The person I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with just passed away on Sunday, so I'm still kind of mourning at the moment. But maybe somebody else in the chat is ready. So if you're interested in a reading with somebody who's crossed over, like I said, you can send me an email to set that up. If you're not aware, I am here Sunday through Wednesday. I changed the time to 7:30-ish. So you can usually find me Sunday through Wednesday. I try to be as consistent as possible. Sometimes I'm just tired, I'm exhausted, and I can't get on, or things in life come up and I don't. I want to back up too and just say everything. You'll find all the videos that I have here over on my YouTube channel. The only difference over there is if you wanted to catch a live and you missed it, I upload. Boy, I never can talk. Upload my lives over there, so you can go over there and catch them if you missed one. And last but not least, also in my boys, I cannot talk tonight or ever. You'll find my Venmo. If you would like to support my channel, you can do that down below through my Venmo account. If you enjoy my content and would like to support me, you can do that there. Obviously, I never want anybody to donate that can't donate. But that is there just because my guides tell me I have to put it there. So that's pretty much all I have. Does anybody else have anything else they want to say or talk about? Is anybody still here? Anybody? Okay. Well, on that note, I appreciate all the love from everybody. I hope you all have a great night, and remember to make tomorrow great, because it is a choice. I will be back here at 7:30-ish on Sunday night, and until we meet again.